In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the world's first Panther Lake powered mini PC, and this is one that I've been really excited about. It's from a company known as Kados, and some of you out there might be familiar with them. They've built a bunch of single board computers powered by ARM, but within the past few years, they've really focused on their x86 mini PC known as the Mind. And what I've got here is the all-new 2026 Mind Pro. Again, it's powered by a Panther Lake CPU, so we've got an Intel Core Ultra 300 series chip here with the really powerful Arc B390 iGPU. On the channel, I've taken a look at the last two revisions of the Mind Mini PC, but this one really takes the cake because we've got that very powerful Panther Lake CPU here. This one is coming in just a bit larger than the other versions, but for good reason. This will actually do up to a sustained 65-watt TDP, allowing for some high CPU and iGPU clocks. In this video, I've got a lot to cover, I've got a lot to test, so before we get into it, I do want to mention that this video is sponsored by CDKeys. I've been using this site for quite some time now. They offer Steam keys, Uplay, Ubisoft, but the main thing I pick up over here are Windows 11 Pro keys. And right now, if you use code ETA, you can get 25% off. So at checkout, we'll just enter the code ETA. That's going to bring the price down to $25. They're going to email you that key, and then you can activate Windows. Speaking of that, let's head over to a new PC that I recently built. As you can see, we're running Windows 11, and from Settings, we're going to go to Activation Settings. It's going to tell us that we're not active. We don't have a key installed, so we're just going to paste it right in here, choose Next. It's going to activate Windows for us, and we're ready to go. If you're in need of cheap Windows keys, I'll leave a link in the description, and remember, you can use code ETA for 25% off. Inside of the box, along with the new Mind Pro, we do get a USB Type-C cable and a 100-watt wall adapter, and I believe this is going to be the same one we got with the last gen. Yeah, so it's a white wall adapter up to 100 watts PD out. So obviously, we've got a super small form factor mini PC, and I do consider this a workstation. Another thing that Kados sent over are a couple accessories, which we'll take a look at in a separate video because that's going to kind of overshadow the performance this will put out all by itself. I've got the Mind xPlay, which will basically turn it into a laptop, and the new Mind graphics, which is pretty amazing. You actually set the mini PC on top, it connects through the Mind port, and it's an RTX 5060 with 16 gigs of VRAM. Taking a look around the unit, the heatsink on this thing has definitely been beefed up from the last generation, given that we can do that 65-watt sustained TDP on this Panther Lake chip. Both sides here, you can see we've got full ventilation. And when it comes to I/O on the new Mind Pro, around back here, we've got two full-function Thunderbolt 4 ports that run at a 40 gig protocol. We also have a full-size HDMI 2.1 FRL port, so this will do 8K 60 or 4K 240 Hz out, plus two full-size USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports. But that's not it when it comes to I/O for the Mind Pro, because down here we have their proprietary Mind port, and this has definitely been beefed up from some other versions of the Mind Mini PC. And this is the port that'll allow us to easily connect to the other Mind accessories like the xPlay and even the new Mind 2 graphics like we saw just a bit ago. And it's much faster than Thunderbolt 4. In fact, it's faster than Thunderbolt 5 and Oculink. It runs at PCIe 5.0 x4 speed, so we've got a maximum throughput of 128 gigatransfers per second. The Mind Pro also contains a built-in standby battery, and this isn't going to allow you to run the unit off the battery, but it does allow you to go into standby mode for up to 48 hours. That way, if you need to unplug this, move it somewhere, you can come right out of sleep mode, and it'll be exactly where you left off. And right down here on the very bottom of the unit, there's the magnetic hatch. If you push on one end, it's going to pop up. You can see that we've got another M.2 slot. Now it's a 2230. We've already got a 2 terabyte drive in the unit that I have here, but we can add another 2 terabyte drive, bringing it up to a total of 4 terabytes. And when it comes to the overall specs of the new Mind Pro, they're actually offering two different CPU variants. Right now, the X9 version isn't ready. That one actually comes with 96 gigs of RAM. But what I've got here is the Intel Core Ultra X7258H. 16 cores, 16 threads, and it's configured in such a way where we have 4 performance cores that'll clock up to 4.8 gigahertz, 8 efficiency cores that'll do up to 3.5, and 2 low power efficiency cores that do up to 3.3. We've got that Intel Arc B390 iGPU with 12 Xe3 cores, It'll clock up to 2500 megahertz, and I've been doing some testing with the B390. This is turning out to be a really amazing iGPU for sure. You can pick up the X7 model of the Mind Pro with either 32 gigabytes of RAM or 64. I've got the 64 gig version here. It's LPDDR5X running at 8,533 megatransfers per second. And keep in mind with the X9 model, it actually runs a bit faster, up to 9,600 megatransfers per second. The unit has two PCIe 4.0 M.2 2230 slots, that built-in standby battery. We've also got that MindLink port on the bottom. It's got Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6.0, and this is running Windows 11 right out of the box. Jumping in here real quick to give you a closer look at everything. I got a lot of testing that I want to do on this, but I've had it up and running for a while now, and as you can see, we've got the Intel Core Ultra X7 358H. 64 gigs of RAM with this unit. We've got the Intel NPU here, which can be utilized. There's actually a lot of applications that will utilize the NPU. And we've got that B390 iGPU. And out of the box, this kind of allocates up to 36.2 gigabytes to VRAM. But if you wanted to change the shared GPU and NPU memory, you can go to the Intel graphics software from here. I'm going to leave it set up like it is. I mean, I've got 64 gigs of system memory, and the B390 with this is using up to 36 gigs. It doesn't mean it's using it all right now. We've also got XeSS Multi-Frame Gen on this iGPU, which works out so well on this thing. And we've got some Mind-specific software here from Kados. So this is the Mind app. And basically, it'll give us our device info right up here. Device mode when unplugged. Remember, we've got that internal battery. We want it to sleep. You can also hibernate, or you can use the battery, and it's just not going to last very long at all on battery, but it's possible to do so in a pinch. But sleep is what I've got mine set to. We've also got a couple power modes. So balanced, power savings, and performance mode. This is going to get us up to that 65 watt sustained TDP. Smart charging on that internal battery, so you can set it only to charge up to 80%. One tap fan cleaning. I have not used this. It's a brand new unit, but it says it reverses the fan for 30 seconds just to clean any dust out of it because, I mean, this is a very small unit here. Pretty cool that we've got that option. You can update the drivers from here, system upgrade. And right down here, we've got some recommendations like the Mind Graphics 2 and even that Mind xPlay. So in my next video, we're going to take a look at the Mind xPlay or maybe the Mind Graphics 2. I'm not sure what I want to take a look at yet, but we'll get this out of the way. Again, I didn't want to kind of overshadow the PC itself because all by itself, I mean, this thing is a little powerhouse. So with a setup like this, I mean, we've got more than enough power for 4K video playback. You want to do some web browsing, email checking, document editing. That's not going to be an issue with this new Core Ultra chip. One thing that I've been using quite a lot with any ARC system, it doesn't matter if it's a dedicated GPU or an iGPU, is Intel's AI Playground. And you can go with whatever you want. You could set up a Clawbot on here, no problem at all. But this just makes it really easy to get a bunch of different AI components installed. I'm just going to move it over here. I do want to pull up my task manager so we can see what's going on with the CPU, GPU, NPU while we're messing around with this. This is free. You can get it from Intel's GitHub. And once you start this up, it's going to look something like this. You can choose the components you want to install. AI Playground, obviously, OpenVINO, and even installs Comfy UI for you. And if you've ever tried to install Comfy UI on Intel Arc, it can be a pain. This just does it for us. And we've even got Llama here for lower RAM usage. So right here, we've got our chat, image gen, edit image. There's even a new video generator. You can use LTX or WAN or WAN, however you pronounce it. But let's say chat here. We'll go to our chat settings, basic chat, NPU chat. So this is only going to utilize the NPU. Agentic, that's what I've been messing around with. And right down here, we can change the model. So we've got our backend, and this is a lower RAM usage Llama backend. Our model is Qwen 3, and we can ask it a question, or we'll just kind of talk to it. Let's see if this even works. Yeah, it's going to load the model. Once that model's loaded, you're good to go. But they actually just added keep models loaded, so we can actually keep those models loaded. You don't have to load them every single time you start a new chat. And let's just say, and that was quick. I just hit enter and it's already answering my question about how an SSD is made. I personally really do like using this. Very user-friendly interface. A power user could go through this if they want to. Now, most people out there are going to use something, a bit heavier duty. But for most people who are kind of getting into this, I do think that the AI playground is pretty amazing. And yeah, it's something I can highly recommend. The next thing I wanted to do was take a look at a few benchmarks that I ran on this device. And the first one we have here is Geekbench 6, single core, looking decent here with a 2,862, multi 16,451. I also ran Cinebench R24, and single core with this chip is great. We're up to 124, beating out that Apple M1 Max all the way down the list. But when it comes to multi-core, you can see it's still being beat out by the Apple M1 Ultra. And it really comes down to Intel only opting to use cores here, no extra threads. We've got 16 cores, 16 threads with this unit. And the final one I ran for this video was 3D Mark Time Spy, just to get a feel for that iGPU, and this B390 scored a 7,564. The only iGPU on the market that's beaten this out is the Radeon 8060S and something like the AMD Ryzen AI Max Plus 395. Even at lower wattages, we're still seeing some phenomenal iGPU performance, but since we're in performance mode here, I figured we'd test some gaming like it is. And the first one I have is Red Dead Redemption 2. 1080 high settings, no scaling. I also tested at 1440p, and we're seeing an average of around 56 at 1440p on this iGPU. But at the end of my run here at 1080 high settings, we had an average of 81 FPS. In my opinion, I mean, it's more than playable like this for sure. Checking out Cyberpunk 2077, high settings, XeSS set to quality, mid 60s with it, and we can get a lot more out of this by using XeSS Frame Gen. And of course, like I showed you, from the Intel graphics software, we can enable multi-frame gen up to X4. And on the X9, I've actually been able to run this at 1440p ultra settings with that, over 100 FPS. I also wanted to throw a racing game in here, so we've got Japanese Drift Master, 1080p, high with XeSS set to quality, and that kind of seems to be the case across the board with a lot of these games. .1080, high settings, XeSS set to quality, looking at mid 70s with it. And this is one of those games that really does struggle on iGPUs. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's horrible, but with this new B390, I've had really good luck with this one. And the final game I wanted to show off here was Black Myth Wukong, and this is the only one we're going to be using Frame Gen with. In fact, we're using XeSS Multi-Frame Gen, 1080p, high settings, 100% resolution scale, seeing over 120 FPS on average with this one. I'm a huge fan of XeSS Frame Gen, and now that we've got Multi-Frame Gen on even Alchemist cards, it's going to change the way people game on Arc for sure. One other thing I wanted to show you here was just the overall size, plus the fact that this works in single cable operation mode. The monitor that I have here does support 90 watts out of USB Type-C and obviously video over USB Type-C. I'll just press that button once, it's going to go into sleep mode, and now that battery is going to last for 48 hours in sleep mode. You can carry this from home to office and start it right back up exactly where you left off. Love that feature. And there we have it. I mean, got me right back into the desktop, exactly where I was. So overall, loving the form factor here, and of course the performance, even with that X7, I mean, we've still got that B390 iGPU, so when it comes to gaming, it really does kind of perform the same as the X9. The main difference over there is that faster RAM, which will help out with frame rates, but not by as much as you may think. I've still got a lot of testing to do with this. I want to get the thermals and total power consumption out of the way. And of course, we've got that Mind XPlay dock and the Mind Graphics 2 with that RTX 5060 and 16 gigs of VRAM. If you're interested in seeing something like that, make sure you hit that like button and think about subscribing. But that's going to wrap it up for my first look video at the new Mind Pro, and I'm really impressed by what I'm seeing so far, but again, I've got more testing to do. If you're interested in learning a little more about this, I'll leave links to the official website in the description. Like always, Thanks for watching.